everyone. Welcome to the program. This is Politics Today, live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Kimale in Abuja. Let's begin straight off tonight from Port Harcourt, the River State capital, where the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi, has met with Mr. Nyesom Wike, the governor of River State in Port Harcourt. The meeting was held behind closed doors at a private residence of Governor Wike. The duo have previously met in Port Harcourt more than once in the past months. Some leaders of the PDP have returned what has been termed as allowance. Some say they do not know the reason for the money that came into their account. That story came out, and it suddenly became a controversy for the People's Democratic Party that's been enmeshed in series of internal issues. That gets our attention. We get some clarity on whatever that is happening. But in the meantime, we will also be talking about INEC and their role in this election. Of course, INEC says it will put its eye on the election spendings. But before we get talking, everyone, let's check out some of your political roundup stories.
The Court of Appeal in Abuja today dismissed an appeal by Princess Anne Agomeze and confirmed the senatorial candidacy of Governor David Umahi. Princess Agomeze, a chieftain of the All Progressives Congress in Ebonyi State, had challenged Governor Umahi's emergence as the Ebonyi South senatorial zone candidate following a primary election which held on July 30, 2022. A federal high court sitting in Abakaliki had in August recognized Agomeze as the senatorial candidate of the zone. However, the Court of Appeal in its judgment today set aside the high court's decision and all its orders. Meanwhile, the Court of Appeal sitting in Abuja has set aside an earlier judgment of the Federal High Court given in favor of a factional governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party in Ogun State, Oladipupo Adebutu. In a judgment by a three-man panel of the Appeal Court, held that Justice Taiwo Taiwo of the Federal High Court Abuja, now retired, was wrong to have declined jurisdiction to entertain a suit by Jimmy Adebisi Lawal. Lawal is by his suit challenging the PDP's utilization of a delegates list in the conduct of the governorship primary election on May 25, 2022, as against the list of delegates who were democratically elected for that purpose at the ward congresses. Nigeria Civil Society Situation Room wants political parties and their candidates to respect and uphold the provisions of the Electoral Act as they commence their campaign all over the country. Addressing journalists in Abuja, the convener of the group, Mrs. NLB, appeals to political parties and politicians occupying positions of power at the state level to allow all the political parties to have access to public facilities and venues for their campaigns.
Equal service should be provided to all political actors, irrespective of their size of the political parties.
Meanwhile, as campaigns for the 2023 general elections begin, a coalition of civil society organizations in Abuja under the aegis of Center for Transparency and Advocacy is asking politicians to back their campaign promises to Nigerians with an affidavit so that citizens can legally hold them to account in 2023 if they fail to deliver. Addressing a news conference in Abuja, the group says it is no longer enough for politicians to make promises such that many have denied in the past after voting them into office.
The Center for Transparency Advocacy is calling on the political parties and their candidates to tell Nigerians in realistic terms how they intend to end insurgency, banditry, kidnapping, and other criminalities.
Organizers of the Lagos 4 Million Man March for the presidential candidate of the Labour Party ahead of the 2023 election say they are ready for its procession slated for Saturday, October the 1st, 2022. At a briefing in Lagos, the group expressed its readiness for the march. It also assured its supporters of adequate security and a well-coordinated outing.
Encouraging Nigerians, both the young, the old, and even the babies, let them come out is a march to liberate our nation.
48 hours after commencement of the 2023 general election campaigns, a group under the umbrella of All Progressives Congress Youth Stakeholders Forum has pledged to canvass maximum votes for the Tinubu-Shettima ticket. The youths cut across the northeast sub-region converge at Damaturu, the Yobe state capital, to express their loyalty to the presidential candidate Ahmed Bola Tinubu and his running mate Kashim Shettima.
I tasked all our members to go out in all the 117 wards in Yobe State to go and canvass vote for Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu Kashim Shettima.
And the governorship candidate of the Young Progressives Party, Bethel Ede, says his party is prepared to end imposition of candidates, vote buying and godfatherism as the nation prepares for the 2023 general elections. He was speaking when he was received by party supporters at the Akanu Ibiam International Airport, Enugu. He promises that his administration will build industries across the 17 local governments and create a minimum of 2,000 jobs in each area council if elected as governor.
Each local government is going to have an industry capable of employing at least 2,000 youths.
A member of the House of Representatives, Mark Wheeler, is denying breaking the law by submitting his personal information to more than one political party. The former PDP lawmaker, who says he has defected to the Labour Party and is the senatorial candidate of Benue North for the 2023 elections, says he is not a member of the NNPP as has been reported. He was speaking to journalists at the National Assembly.
This news item is false, it is malicious, premeditated, and a figment of the criminal and depraved imagination by my opponents and detractors.
There you have it, you've been served. Now let's get straight to the first business of tonight. The People's Democratic Party, PDP, is in the news again, and not for the best of reasons. The controversy this time is when some members of the National Working Committee wrote to the national chairman of the party, Senator Iyorchia Ayu, and informing him of the decision to return the housing allowance paid into the accounts from the party's coffers. The affected members include Taufik Arakpaja, Deputy National Chairman South, Dan Obi, National Vice Chairman South, Stella Efa Ato, National Women Leader, and Olasoji Adagmodo, National Vice Chairman Southwest. In their different statement, they alluded to the fact that the party erroneously paid the said amount into their accounts without stating the purpose. The development came a few days after a media report claimed that members of the PDP NWC were miffed over alleged depletion of the 10 billion naira the party made from the sale of nomination forms. River State Governor Nyesom Wike had also accused Senator Ayu of collecting the sum of 1 billion naira from an unnamed presidential candidate in Lagos. Reporter claimed that Ayu, in a bid to pacify the NWC members, paid the sum of 28 million each to the members. Meanwhile, the People's Democratic Party has since been reacting to the controversy, saying members of the National Working Committee were not bribed. The party says that this is misleading report, which, according to the party, stemmed from an unfounded publication or a particular media outlet, which suggested that the housing allowance is an entitlement duly approved and paid to all national officials and staff of the party, amounted not to a bribe. The party, in a statement released by Mr. Debo Olu-Nwagba, it says, quote, "For the avoidance of doubt, the PDP states in an unequivocal term that no funds were paid into the account of any member of the NWC as a bribe for any purpose whatsoever for that matter." Let's get talking about this, because it's been back and forth. If it sees Mr. Olu-Nwagba release that statement, some members and leaders of the party have said that is not true, that in fact it is a bribe, and that corruption exists in the PDP. A lot of them are now worried about the implication of this, especially when the campaign just got off the ground. Let's get talking about this. I have two gentlemen, chieftains of the APC from Port Harcourt. Virtually joins us Senator Olaka Nwogu. Thank you so much, Senator, for joining us tonight. And here live with me in the Abuja studio is Mr. Muhammad Jamo, is a chieftain of the PDP. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Sharon.
Let me begin with Senator Nwogu. Give us an understanding. You've seen the reaction of the spokesperson of the party. He says it doesn't amount to bribe. And I mean, it's frowned at the reasons why some of these NWC members had to write, made public their letters to the National Chairman, saying that this is a norm, this is just usual, it's for housing allowance.
Well, good evening, esteemed viewers. This is another twist in this saga of the Ayu thing. And it's so sad that some of the things we've been trying to put out to the public are coming out by themselves in ways that are very embarrassing. I don't think this is the best thing for our party, and it's coming out at a time when we least need it. Senator Yosha Ayu, our national chairman, recalled that when Governor Nyesom Wike gave his media charge, he did say that nearly 14 billion of the party's money is a target for the dogged determination of Ayu to remain in office. Now, what's emerging is that it's turning out that some members of the NWC are saying less than 1 billion of that money remains. And just at the time when people were beginning to ask questions, they see money in their accounts. There was no time the NWC sat to decide that people should be paid those amounts. Whether it was supposed to be loan, they didn't apply for loan, or if it was supposed to be housing grant, they have houses already, they were never told. The quality and caliber of the people who are turning in these letters are not unknown quantities. You have the deputy national chairman for the party, South, who is number 3 in the National Working Committee. I say number 3, even though his office is at the same level as that of the deputy national chairman, North. But for reasons of succession, which we usually go North, then come down South. At the minimum, that's number 3. Then you have the deputy, the vice chairman, national chairman, vice of South-South. You have Southeast. You have Southwest, you have the assistant national secretary, so many of them who are members of the National Working Committee saying at no time were they aware of any decision, they did not participate in any decision, they did not agree to give themselves any money. The national chairman, his approval level, the maximum amount you can approve as national chairman of the party is 10 million. That of the national secretary is 5 million. There is no basis for which the party leadership can decide to award to itself monies that belong to the party. And recall, these were monies that party members paid for forms. These are monies that should go to sponsor the candidates of the party at all levels in the party. This is the money that should lead the party, assist the party to get victory in the next elections.
All right.
A few persons have decided not just to take it, but to now give to all the members so that they can be roped together. They can collectively defend themselves. Thank God for the heroics and the honesty of these ones who have come out to say these monies are in our account. So if they had come here to tell you monies are in the accounts of officials, nobody would have believed.
All right, Senator,
now,
just a moment. Let's take this issue one after the other. There are a lot of questions that's been raised by the event of the transfer of the money and the return of same. Let me allow Mr. Jamal to come in. You heard what the senator said.
Yeah.
What's your reaction on the state of affairs as regarding this alleged bribe, which the party says no, it's not a bribe?
Well, Mr. Shaun, I think this is the best independence gift that Nigeria has gotten in so many years, because we have been clamoring for change. And we have been clamoring for change within a change. So at this particular time, the PDP 4, because already this is the tag name that Nigerians have given to them, PDP 4, the action that they have taken is an action which we will take it with all seriousness. Because if Nigerians at all levels, be it at party level, at governmental level, or at any other level of the society strata, find themselves in a situation whereby they just wake up in the morning and they see an alert of some money, which they don't know, and they question that amount, and they decided to come forth and say, take back this money and make it public, because all activities of political party are supposed to be public, like they did and made it public. So this is a cause for celebration. And for the PDP as a party, I think this is what they should take seriously, and to even join in celebrating these 4 distinguished gentlemen because in every action, let's say for every procedure that can be taken, any extant procedure, there is an extant action to it. So if these funds were as the National Organizing Secretary, National Spokesman of the party said, it is a decision that has already been taken. So let them come out forth and bring out vouchers, approvals, where were these approvals made, and bring out vouchers. Because for you to take a decision that is of this quantum amount of money, there is definitely an extant action that has been taken.
For you, do you smell a rat in all of these transactions?
Well, at this particular junction, I will not say either I smell a rat or I do not smell a rat. But what I will call for is for the PDP at this juncture to come clean.
They have come out, but how clean do you want them to come?
Documents shall come out.
Should there be some kind of independent audit?
For every extant procedure, there must be extant documents to back up that procedure.
So documents in this sense, where the approval and the agreement.
Minutes of meetings that have been taken, where this decision was taken for this amount of money to be given out as housing allowances. They shall come out to the public. Already the matter is in the public domain. We as a party want to rescue this country. We as a party want to unify this country. We as a party want to save this country from corruption.
Do you think that this in some way dent the image of the party in some way?
I still stand by my words and statement that I said earlier, that the party, the onus of saving the party now lies on the party to come out clean. If the party can be able to come out clean and prove to Nigerians that these things were done normally, then we can clap for the party and say, wonderful, you are doing the right thing. So for now, I leave it as it is now, that the party really needs to come out and save itself.
If your party does not say anything further, more than what is said today, do you think that it raises a big question mark on the financial fidelity or the corruption stance of your party or anti-corruption stance of your party?
If the party does not take any action, then we will be left with no any other option than to find a way that we can get independent investigators to look at this matter and make Nigerians
Is this good for your party going into an election?
Well,
when within the National Working Committee, some people are saying, take back the money. I don't deserve this money. This money is not supposed to come to me. Doesn't it raise a big question? Because yesterday, Senator Dino Melaye, who speaks for your presidential candidate, said on this program that your party is going to fight corruption and the candidate is going to fight corruption. So when these kind of things happen, the allegation of bribery on the leadership of your party, does it not speak another thing entirely from what your presidential candidate says he's going to do?
That's why, Shewan, I'm still telling you that I'm seeing this from the positive light of it. The party now has the greatest
to see it as a positive
yeah, positive
not
light of
thinking that if money came from someone, it's a negative also.
No, let me tell you why I'm telling you that I'm seeing it from the positive light of it. As a political party that wants to save Nigeria, this is the time that the party can show to the world that it can save itself first before going out to save Nigeria.
Let me bring back Senator Nwogo. Give us an understanding. So you heard what Mr. Jamal said. So the question is, there are another question mark, and there are a lot of questions that have been raised in this matter. And one of it is, if you say these PDP NWC 4, they returned the money and written the letter, if you say that we did not discuss any money, there is no moment where we had a conversation about allowances and it just came into our account, the question is, how did the account get public? Your personal account, how did it get into the hands of those who sent the money? Isn't that another question mark that causes people to say, what exactly is going on in your party?
Well, so first, I don't know how we react to things, but I'm outraged. I am very, very outraged. I'm embarrassed as a member of our party that this is happening at this time. We truly, truly hoped that we are setting out to save Nigeria and to turn a new page and to do those things that will move our country forward. And this is embarrassing, and it's squarely at the desk of the national chairman. He's leading a party. It's not the PDP that's in issue here. It's the leadership of our party. It's the NWC that is in issue here. And it's the national chairman who I think this was like a response. Remember when Governor Wike said they have 14 billion, they are targeting that money. So what happens next? They know that people are going to ask, where is the money? That money is to support the party through the elections, support all our candidates, support all our structures. So the next thing they did was to make sure there's unity within the NWC. And then people's accounts were quickly credited. So salaries are paid through account. So the account numbers of these members are with the party. The party leadership has the account number of all these leaders. They paid money into the accounts. If those people were party to a decision to take money, they will not speak out. It is the press that discovered these payments, and then it was published that people were being paid, and then people came out to say, yes, I've checked my account, I've seen this money. I am a member of the National Working Committee. We never agreed to pay this money. We never applied for any rent. We never applied for any facility. Some of them have houses in Abuja. They never asked for this. They suddenly found these monies. It would have been entrapment. If they did not find the courage to come out and speak out, they would today be defending and probably lying that no monies were paid out. I think the national chairman should apologize to the party, apologize to Nigerians, and him and all those with him who are involved in this should resign their offices and say this will never happen. There's no other name to call this. You are embarrassing our party, you are embarrassing our nation. Today we are the main opposition party, and we want to tell the ruling party that we can do things differently. How can we do this? By what face can we look at Nigerians and defend the payment of 28 million naira to each member of the National Working Committee? There's no precedent to it. There is no time in our history that people took this kind of money. There were no applications. There were no processing. The organ that should approve such a thing will have been NEC, because beyond a certain threshold, you have to take procurement to NEC. This never went to NEC. Or if any NEC member participated in this, then let them come out and say they approve this. People must learn to respect due process. There are thresholds for things. That you preside over the money, 14 billion or 10 billion as the case may be, does not mean you have a right to pay yourself anything that you choose. And what they have done today is an embarrassment to us all. I think the decent thing, and I'm shocked, the publicity secretary of our party is defending it. Let him tell us, he too has collected the money, and let him tell us that he has a right to keep that money in his account. That money that party people contributed, he has a right to keep it because he's the publicity secretary of our party. But this is an embarrassment to come.
All right, let me come back to Mr. Jamo. So there has been call for the sack or removal or stepping aside of Senator Iyorchia Ayu. Could this situation or this very incident heighten that kind of atmosphere where leaders of the party are divided on whether Ayu must go?
Well, I have made myself I have said my mind on the issue of Iyorchia Ayu. Even the last time I was a guest here, Mr. Iyorchia Ayu needs to go. And my reasons why I keep saying Mr. Iyorchia Ayu has to go. Today in Nigeria, we have 4 major political parties. Before these 4 major political parties emerged, what we had were 2 political parties. The 2 other political parties were a creation of the incapacity of Mr. Iyorchia Ayu as the chairman of the PDP, because under his watch, we lost Mr. Peter Obi. Under his watch, we lost Engineer Rabi Musa Kwankwaso, which if he has managed this party properly well, Mr. Obi is in PDP, Mr. Kwankwaso, Rabi Kwankwaso is in the PDP by now, it will have been a walkover election for us. But now we have these 2 forces to contend with. And then this again today. After we have talked about the issue of imbalance, whereby we are having candidates, we're having the northern part of the country having the presidential candidate, while the south has been left with nothing. And we have always been clamoring that there must be justice in this party. Let me tell you one thing, Shewin, that I love so much, and I always love quoting it. It is a verse from the Quran, in Surah Al-Nisa. This verse, when you go to Harvard University, you will find it pasted on their wall. It says, "O ye who believe, stand firmly for justice. even against your parents, your kith, or your kin. So wherever you see the issue of justice and fair play comes into play, you must stand firmly for it. We are having the southern part of the country with nothing. And they have been clamoring, give us the national chairman of the party, which has always been what the PDP has always done. The presidential candidate from one part of the country and the chairman from the other part of the country. Mr. Ayu offered to step aside. On moral ground, we have always been asking him, comply with what you have said, and he has not stepped aside. And today, we are faced with this issue of monetary matters, an issue whereby a deputy national chairman and 2 zonal chairmen with the woman leader of the party saying funds you have given to us are questionable funds. We don't know anything about this money. How much of Ayu can we continue to be having? Wouldn't he give us a chance so we can form a government?
All right, let me go back to Senator Nwogu. Give us an understanding, because there are those who also ask the question that something fishy is going on here. The 4 people that have returned this money sent a signal of returning the money. They're from the same region. Ostensibly, they are on the Wike side of the divide in this whole PDP internal struggle. Those who say this is just a machination against the leadership of the party because of the rift or the internal problems the party is facing, and that, well, there is an orchestrated and designed move to dent the image of the Senator Yocha Ayu-led NWC.
Well, I think the Deputy National Secretary is doing the same thing. I don't know which faction he is in. I also know that the Deputy National Vice Chairman Southeast is doing the same thing. I don't know which section of the camps he is. It's not about camp. And even if all of them were supposed to be supporters of Wike, that does not invalidate a bad act. What is an issue here is they didn't pay themselves. The party leadership paid them. And they are saying they never discussed this. They're embarrassed by those monies. We must encourage those who speak out and call out corruption. If people do not want to participate in corruption, then you begin to give them names. They belong to Wike's camp. I think Wike should be proud if it is his own people that are saying, this is not right. We don't want to be part of corruption. Because I don't think anybody should want to say the other people are my camp. Nobody should want to own you at this moment. You don't want to own what is going on.
You know the reason why people will raise this matter. There is a very popular saying in my part of the country, and it's a proverb in Yoruba language, which says, and literally interpret it into English, literally it's a witch cried in the night, and in the morning a child dies. That there is a reason for all of this is happening when all of this is happening. In fact, I'm very sure that you have heard the allegation that those who returned the money were offered 3 times the money to return the money they were paid. And that's the reason. And this is just a political maneuvering within your party.
See, there's nothing worse than this line of thought, that people speak out against corruption and then they are put in this kind of phrase, that they were offered money to return, to not be corrupt. Then this is almost like we are glamorizing corruption. We don't want to call out theft. Rather, what we want to do is ask who exposed the theft. So we want to analyze the character, content, and nature of those who called out the theft. Has money been taken out of our party purse? Has it been put in people's accounts, that people who don't deserve the money? Have we found out that the people who put that money did not have the right to have done so? Should we not even check further? The quiet National Working Committee members, is it not enough, a good reason for us to ask all of them to show that they did not benefit from this fund? Are they entitled to it? I can tell you they are not entitled
we're out of time.
to it.
Let me allow Mr. Jamo's final thought on this one. What's a view? I mean, what's the way forward? Because this does not help your party in any way, either positively the way you see it or negatively. What's the way forward? Just in 30 seconds.
The way forward is for the People's Democratic Party the largest party in Africa, to find a way of coming clean with all these matters. It's a very simple matter. Like I said in the beginning, extant procedure comes with extant documentation. If, like the national spokesman of the party said, this is legal what they have done, let them be able to bring out documents to back the legality of this. With that, we can be able to survive this scandal as
Thank you so much, Mr. Jamal, for joining us tonight, as well as Senator Olaka Nwogu. Thank you so much indeed for your time. I appreciate it. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
We'll take a break away from the intensity of the controversy and the heat in the PDP, and we look at what INEC is going to do. There is a huge one. Now, there is an increase in the amount that could be spent in an election year based on the new electoral law. But INEC says you cannot spend more than that. We'll be getting more on INEC's rules. And they say politicians must play by them. Stay with us. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. Let's shift attention to how much of the playing by the rules that can politicians be able to exhibit as this election campaign has now been flagged off. Yesterday, the National Peace Committee engaged politicians and presidential candidates of the different political parties. I understand about 3 of them did not show up out of the 18, and committing them to sign a peace accord ahead of the 23 elections. At that event, INEC, the umpire, warned against behaviors that could threaten the polls, including campaign spending. I'd like you to listen specifically on the issue of campaign spending. As the chairman of INEC, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, has warned that spending is going to be strictly monitored by INEC. Take a listen to him.
In line with the provisions of the Electoral Act 2022 and in our determination to play our role as regulator, the Independent National Electoral Commission will vigorously monitor compliance to ensure that parties shun abusive, intemperate, or slanderous language, as well as insinuations or innuendos likely to provoke a breach of the peace during the electioneering campaigns. Similarly, the Commission will also closely monitor compliance with the limits on campaign spending as enshrined in the Electoral Act.
You heard him there. So there are limits to how much political parties can get, where the monies can come from, and in fact how much a presidential campaign can spend, the governorship campaign, the National Assembly campaign. Let's get the view of INEC on all of these issues. The new Electoral Act has stipulated so much that these politicians need to abide with. Have they been abiding with it? INEC says this time around things are going to change. I'm being joined by Mr. Festus Okoye, INEC National Commissioner on Publicity and Voter Education. Thank you so much indeed, Mr. Okoye. It's good to see you.
Thank you.
Let's begin first and foremost. Some clarification that needs to be made, and on the issue of online donation, crowdfunding for political parties. What does the law say? What are the landmines that the politicians need to, because you have told them to abide by the rules, but some of them seem not to be aware of the landmines in some of these rules.
Well, if the guiding electoral legal framework for this election remains the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999 as amended, the Electoral Act 2002, and the regulations and guidelines rolled out by the Independent National Electoral Commission. Now, if you look at the constitutional stipulation, if you look at Section 225 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, it makes it very clear that, one, that no registered political party in Nigeria shall possess any funds outside the country. In other words, a political party cannot open an account and have monies remitted into that particular account outside the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Secondly, it makes it clear that no political party shall, under any circumstance, retain any funds remitted to it from outside the country. And if such funds are remitted to the political party from outside the country, that particular political party has a constitutional and legal obligation to turn in such funds to the Independent National Electoral Commission within a period of 21 days from the date of the receipt of such funds. So that is the law, and that is the constitutional stipulation. And the political parties are aware of this constitutional stipulation.
So let's look at the line, yes. Because in all of these laws, not only the electoral has simply just copy and pasted and reiterated what the Constitution in Section 225 had said, yes. That you cannot retain funds. But does it also mean that you cannot get funding from Nigerians in diaspora, organizations outside of the country, for your campaign?
Well, as far as the Section 225 of the Constitution is concerned, it did not make any distinction. It says you should not receive funds from outside. So if you receive funds from Niger, if you receive funds from Chad, if you receive funds from Benin Republic, it goes to the same issue. Because it seems to me that when people are talking about not receiving funds, they are just looking at funds received from places like the US, from Germany, from France, and the rest of them. But the law says you should not receive funds from outside the country.
So crowdfunding, because sometimes you don't know where the monies are coming from. So you just open a portal for people to donate money to you. And this has happened in the past, where candidates get funding, and you don't know where these monies are coming from. How will you be able to monitor such?
Well, the law is very clear. The law says that no political party is obligated to receive funds, anonymous donations, from sources it cannot testify to.
So when you get the money, what do you do?
And the law is also very clear that when people donate funds to you, that you should get their names, you should know their addresses, and so on. And if you receive funds from a source you cannot identify, you should turn in such funds to the Independent National Electoral Commission. Because one, the law also is very clear that every registered political party in Nigeria must and shall maintain proper books of accounts, where it will record the sources of funds, the monies received, and the expenditures it has made, and the places where it received such funds from. So if a political party receives funds that it cannot account for, or receives funds that it doesn't know its source, that particular political party ought to report to the Independent National Electoral Commission that he received such funds.
Now, I'll come, you mentioned something on the detailed annual statement of asset and liabilities, yes. Analysis of the funding and all of that, which is captured in Section 86, Sub 1 of the Electoral Act. Yes. And if you look at that section and the provision of that section, one we wonder whether INEC has been doing its job. When was the last time you received the statement of account or detail of spendings of these political parties?
Well, constitutionally and legally, it is the responsibility of the political parties to maintain proper books of accounts. Secondly, it is also the responsibility of the political parties to engage auditors to audit its accounts. But as far as the commission is concerned, we have what we call from EC 16C, which is political parties' annual finance report, which is domiciled with the political parties. We also have what is called from EC 16D, which is political party campaign finance report, with which they record their income.
Well, have they been doing that?
Some of them have been doing that.
It said the Electoral Act says shall.
Yes.
And it mandates the commission to be able to hold them to account. So as much as it gives the obligation and specifies a punishment to the political party, it also ties the destiny of INEC into the political party. The duty is not only of the political party, but also of INEC. But on the part of INEC, when did you do it?
Well, the commission has been auditing the accounts of the political parties. The commission has also been training the national treasurers and financial secretaries of the various political parties, so that they will understand how to keep proper books of accounts and also how to audit the accounts. Prior to this particular period, we recognize that we had over 91 registered political parties in Nigeria, and despite the fact that all of them have the same incidence of registration and have the same legal status, but some of them, we are not really keeping proper books of accounts.
Because, but you know the reason why I'm asking this question, Mr. Okoye?
Yes.
is because there have been allegations that INEC has not been doing its job in this direction in the past. And if you look at it, we just discussed the issue of allegation of bribery. And in fact, there was a time a few months ago that a member of a political party went to EFCC to say that his own political party did not spend money from a stipulated party account, that they were spending cash. They collected nomination form monies by hand, by cash. They never went through the banks. And this is happening. Did INEC really do due diligence in all of this?
Well, the commission has been doing due diligence.
Would you be able to publish some of this for the public to see that he who comes to equity must also come with, with clean hands?
Definitely. You have to also realize that I said the primary responsibility of keeping proper books of accounts resides with the various political parties. What the Constitution says is that the Independent National Electoral Commission shall also monitor the organization and the finances and the congresses of political parties, and the Commission has been doing that. Now, I believe that the various political parties are aware of the Electoral Act 2022. Under this particular act, we have trained the financial secretaries and national treasurers of the various political parties. I want the political parties to know that they will be required and are required and they shall be required to keep proper books of accounts, because the moment the elections are over, the commission will expect them to turn in their election expenditure and also turn in their annual financial reports. And so it's not going to be business as usual.
So there are simple rules that the Electoral Act has specified from Section 85, 86, 87, 88, and in fact to 89 and 90 about what can be spent. So for presidential election, the parties cannot spend more than 5 billion each.
Yes.
That is what the law says. And for
governorship election,
the governorship is not going to be more than 1 billion.
Yes.
And for House of Reps and Senate is going to be 100 million and 70 million respectively.
Yes.
Now, how do you monitor how much they spend, considering the fact that some of these monies that are spent are not in the right channel?
Well, what the commission does is to monitor activities that are slightly visible, in terms of what they spend on billboards, in terms of what they spend on newspaper advertisements, in terms of what they spend on radio advertisements, and also in terms of what they spend printing pamphlets, leaflets, and so on. We monitor all those ones. But in terms of what goes on through the bank, in terms of the other expenditures which they make, we expect them to keep proper books of accounts. And for this particular period, the Independent National Electoral Commission is collaborating with the security agencies in terms of monitoring what they spend through the other recognized channels, through the banks and so on, that are not visible through
we saw in Ekiti and Osun that EFCC joined you in the conduct of the election. And are you officially involving EFCC, even from now, that the campaigns, because they've started spending the money? Are you involving the EFCC to monitor with you, or do you have the capacity to be able to monitor other than the statement of account?
Well, we have what we call the Interagency Consultative Committee on Election Security, made up of the EFCC, made up of the ICPC, and made up of the other security agencies. We are collaborating with them, we are partnering with them in terms of our mandate, and also partnering with them to make sure that all the registered political parties keep to the rules of the game and play by the rules of the game.
With all of what we are hearing, just to clarify before we move into something else, so you are saying that crowdfunding, online donation, and all of that are dangerous landmines for these political parties, because these monies might be coming from outside of the country?
Well, I'm looking specifically at the provisions of the Constitution. The Section 225, subsection 2 of the Constitution is very clear. It says every political party shall submit to the Independent National Electoral Commission a detailed annual statement and analysis of its source of funds and other assets, together with a statement of its expenditure in such form as the commission may require. And it says, no political party shall hold or possess any funds or other assets outside Nigeria, or be entitled to retain any funds or assets remitted or sent to it from outside Nigeria. The operative word here is from outside Nigeria. And so it does not matter whether it is from Chad, it does not matter whether it's from Cameroon, it does not matter whether it's from
you know, I don't know, because your generation might not be very familiar with some of these things. Our generation are the one that we're very familiar with this crowdfunding. People need help, and they open a portal, GoFundMe and the rest, and money come, and you don't know where the monies are coming. That's the question that I'm asking.
That is anonymous donation.
Are you saying they cannot receive it?
The law says that a political party should not touch monies if it cannot account for its source of who sent the money. That is anonymous donation.
Okay, let's go, because there are other issues. I think it's clear. I just wanted you to emphasize and be specific, and you've done that. Let's move on. The issue of violence, the issue of speech and engagement, issue-based campaign and all of that. And you said that you are going to also do that.
Yes.
And what means are you going to employ to make sure that this is adhered to?
Well, the Commission already has a cognate experience in terms of monitoring political campaigns and also monitoring rallies. Our regulations and guidelines obligates every registered political party that wants to organize a campaign or organize a rally to give the Independent National Electoral Commission 10 days notice of its intention to do so. And it must give the Commission the date when it's going to do so, the venue, and other
so they
members of the organizing
they can't
committee.
go on campaign without letting you know.
No, they must let us know.
It's part of the law.
It's part of our regulations and
so
the law.
They can't do emergency campaign. Oh, I'm going to Owerri and on my way, let me quickly do one, but it wasn't planned, but we'll do it anyways.
No, there cannot be emergency campaign because our regulations is part of a subsidiary legislation. It requires you to give us notice. And when you give us notice, you must also tell us who are members of the organizing committee, so that if anything goes wrong, we'll be in a position to know where things have gone wrong.
But you don't need to monitor the campaign, do you?
We will monitor the campaign. If you are going to campaign in a local government, you give notice to the electoral officer of that particular local government of your intention to conduct campaign. If you are going to do campaign within the state, you must give notice to the resident electoral commissioner of that particular state of your intention to do the campaign. So you must give us notice.
So another quick one, because we are totally out of time, is this. Can a candidate emerge from a political party when he or she was not listed? Because you required by the Electoral Act, the Electoral Act mandates INEC to submit the list of party members. Can a member or a candidate emerge after the submission of the list of party members?
Well, if you need private legal advice in relation to the provision of Section 77 of the Electoral Act, I'll be ready to give you that.
No, this is for Nigerians to know.
Section 77 of the Electoral Act makes it clear that 30 days before the conduct of primaries, every registered political party shall submit in both soft and electronic copy a list of its members to the Independent National Electoral Commission. That's the law. I don't know what the consequences are if a political party did not submit, or if a political party has submitted the list of its members and somebody defects to another political party
and emerges.
I don't know what the consequences are. Maybe it's one of the things that may be litigated in court. I'm not ready to offer a free legal advice on this particular matter.
But if you're not speaking as an INEC official right now, your lawyer mind is telling you that there might be some line minds there, right?
It's a possibility, I do not know, until such a matter goes to court.
On a final note, are you aware that some members of your commission died on Anambra Road? About 4 of them. Are you aware?
No, I'm not aware, but I'm aware that a staff of the Independent National Electoral Commission was declared missing, and then just yesterday he was found somewhere, and then we evacuated his body to the morgue. That's the one I'm aware of. Finally,
Mr. Okoye, 2015, 2019, INEC was expressed on the fact that if you misbehave, we'll cancel the election in that area. If you do not conduct yourself well, if we see any violence, we will not conduct the election. Does INEC maintain that kind of stance? Considering the possibility of violence in some states, for the last 48 hours, there's been killings in Anambra State, for example.
Well, I think that we must view it from the context of the level and context and the texture of the insecurity in various states of the Federation. The law expects the Commission to conduct very clean elections. And the law also says that if we are going to postpone election in any particular place, that there must be cogent and verifiable reason for doing so. And so if we have cogent and verifiable reason on why election cannot take place in a particular place, we will apply the provisions of the law.
So you once told me that INEC conduct election and not war.
Yes.
So any place that is unsafe for your officials, you will not go there.
We guard jealously the safety of our officials, and we expect the political parties have signed the agreement to conduct themselves.
It's not legally binding. It's a moral suasion for them to abide by it, and we will hold them to it.
Oh yes.
That they need to be peaceful and they conduct themselves.
Definitely.
But the question is, you've said it in the past. We are not military people. We don't conduct wars. We conduct elections.
We conduct elections.
So it's a warning also to them.
And we expect them.
Misbehave.
We expect them to pay particular attention to provisions of the Constitution and the provisions of the Electoral Act and do what is right at all times.
Thank you so much, Mr. Okoye, for coming tonight.
You have a lot
of work this time around. As the politicians are moving around, you also might be talking so much just to guide and see what happens at the end of the day. Thank you so much, indeed. I wish you the very best in this period.
I really appreciate it.
Well, that's our show for today and for this weekend. Until Sunday, again at 8 p.m. Do join me again, everyone. But that's it for tonight, everyone. I'm Sean Kimale. Bye-bye.